So for the purposes of this video, we're going to use the state of California as an example purely because their online filing system is really simple and easy to use. And we think that it'll really help guide you through any other state's filing system. So the name of their system is BizFile Online. This is through the Secretary of State. Once you get here, you're going to click on Register a Business. The next window that opens, you're given all of these choices of the type of entity you want to form. We're going to choose today forming an LLC. We'll choose File Online. And at that point, you'll be asked to log in. So either create an account or you can use a previously created account. The first step is to read through the privacy warning and the terms and conditions. So I know it's tempting, but don't skip through this step. Be sure to read things carefully. Setting up your entity type is a very litigious matter, so you want to be careful and make sure you're reading through this entire document. At the end, you can check that you've read this and move on to the next step. You don't have to enter in any information here, but if you choose to, you would enter the name of the person filing here. We'll move on to this notice, depending on what type of entity you file, as you may see a notice here. Again, be sure to read through all of these notices carefully. Next, you get to enter your name. Most states have a feature where you can reserve a name for your business. It's usually a small fee that you pay. If you've done that, you can choose yes. And the name that you reserved will be saved in your online account. We don't have one, so we're going to choose no. And then you would enter your name here. If the name is already taken or it's not in the right format, like for instance, if I enter a company name here, it's going to come back as wrong or invalid because I haven't entered LLC. So as soon as I enter LLC, it'll be acceptable. Next, your business address. So be sure to enter the physical and the mailing address of your business. This next step, an agent for service of process. This is called different things depending on your state, but basically, this is where your business will be served legal documents. If you're involved in a lawsuit, the state needs to have an address where you're available to be served legal documents. They need to have it on file. They need to know that it's being updated. So if you want to be your own agent for service of process, you can choose individual. The address that you provide needs to have regularly accepted business operating hours. The other option is to choose a registered corporate agent. Now, sometimes lawyers are a registered corporate agent, sometimes accountants are. You have to engage someone for this service. And basically, the service is just accepting those legal documents. Let's say you don't have a business with normal operating hours. So you could engage someone else for these services and they can accept all of your legal documents. If you do choose to go this route, make sure you have engaged these services before choosing. You would click this box and then search for the representative that you've chosen. Next, we're moving on to some structure items. So depending on your entity structure, your LLC structure, you're going to choose one manager, more than one manager, or all LLC members are managing members. Next, the filing date. For certain circumstances, you may choose a future filing date, but most commonly, you're going to choose today's date, the day that you're filling out this form. All right. Next, attachments. Attachments are not required. However, again, in some circumstances, a business may choose to upload certain documents here. Next, you're going to review all of the information that you entered in the form. You're going to sign, which this is just a typical e-signature. You would add it this way. And there, it's here for you. Moving on to processing fees. So in California, you can see here, the processing fee is $70 to form an LLC. However, different entity types are different fees. Also, by state, these fees are going to vary as well. We don't usually feel the need for a certified copy. If you would like one, it's available for you, but they do provide an electronic copy of the articles of formation immediately after filing them. So it's not necessary. Next, you can choose your processing time. Special circumstances might require that you need this in 24 hours or same day. That's such a nice offering that the state is making. We usually just need a standard processing time, and then you can always check the processing times here. And then next, you would just move on to the payment window. If I were to click through here to file online, I would just enter my credit card information. It would process the payment, and then you would be able to download your articles of formation. Okay, switching gears here just a little bit, I've taken you to our website, goldstandardtax.com. Under our services drop-down menu, you see we actually offer entity registration. I wanted to show you what's included in our entity registration services because you may choose that this is the right route for you and your company. But also, I wanted you to see the next steps. Once you have filed those articles of formation with the state, you're not completely done. There are a few steps left. For instance, immediately after filing with the state, you can obtain your EIN from the IRS. Our service also includes a corporate seal and a really nice custom personalized leather corporate record book. In addition to these steps, depending on the entity type and the state you're filing in, you're required to run a newspaper ad notifying the community of this new business. Sometimes those ads are required to run for 6 weeks in 3 newspapers. These ads are expensive and it does lengthen the processing time. Once the newspaper ad is finished running, there's a few forms you need to file with the state. So all of those steps are included in our services. And I just want to note this disclaimer here that while our entity registration team is very prompt in filing the applications and documents that are needed to form your new company, the processing time for the state and federal agencies can take up to 8 to 10 weeks. If you do choose to move forward with our services, it's just a really simple, easy form to fill out here, just a few questions. It's not too intensive. And then we have a really nice frequently asked questions section here. I wanted to highlight this first one because we do offer a guide to help people choose the best entity type for their business, and you actually get this guide included in your course. So that wraps up our step-by-step guide on registering your company on the state level.
Now that we finished the state registration process, that wasn't so bad, right? We're going to take that business name and entity type and we're going to notify the IRS with it. When doing so, the IRS is going to provide your business name and employer identification number. This number is comparable to us as individuals. We have our own names and separate social security numbers, correct? Well, in doing so, your business will also have its own business name and identification number. Again, employer identification number, EIN. We will go in further depth on how to set this up and the process of getting this number in Module 2.